Welcome everyone to Keep It Classy Tech. This is going to be the part 2 to the Sony A90J settings video, and it's going to cover the gaming modes as well as how to set up the Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch for the Sony A90J, and also applies to the A80J as well. So the first thing you want to do is go to the basic settings menu and go to channels and inputs, and then go down to external inputs, and then you're going to go to HDMI signal format, and you're going to set up all your HDMI ports the way they should be. So pretty much, unless you have an older system, an older DVD player or something like that, you're going to set everything to enhanced. Now, if you want to have Dolby Vision content, setting 1 and 2 to enhanced will allow Dolby Vision, and setting 3 and 4 to enhanced format Dolby Vision is how you get Dolby Vision. But if you just set them to enhanced format on 3 and 4, then you don't get Dolby Vision, you get 4K 120 Hz. Which is what we want since there is no Dolby Vision game mode. So we're going to set 3 and or 4 to enhanced format, not Dolby Vision. Then we're going to go to the picture settings. Alright, now we're going to do game mode. And I'm going to have a video about gaming on this TV. And this is for SDR. If you want to know more about why these settings, go ahead and check out the video for gaming when I release that. But for brightness, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can go full bright, which looks really good to a lot of people, especially if you're in a bright room. But it's going to have dimming, but it's going to have dimming no matter what. However, the A90J can recover that dimming pretty quickly. So there's really no reason not to just go ahead and do max brightness and peak luminance on high. So in SDR gaming, you can get that near LCD look. So brightness, go ahead and put at max. Contrast at 90. Gamma can stay at 0. Black level stays at 50. Or black adjust and contrast enhancer, again, keep those off. Now if this is too bright, especially if you're playing in a dark room, go ahead and just pull the peak luminance down. Go medium, low, whatever looks fine to you. But if you want to go ahead and just play games as bright as you can, go ahead and use high. And again, no matter what, pretty much, it's going to be dimming, but it will recover quickly. So again, check out the gaming video. Our color, we're going to leave default and hue at default 0. Color temperature, again, we're going to use expert 1. Live color, if you're someone who likes to add just a little bit more color to your games, try out whatever setting here you like, maybe low or medium. It's pretty aggressive in the way that it works, in my opinion, so I don't use it, but if it's what you like, it's what you like. Our sharpness, we're going to keep at 50. And then reality creation, again, I'm going to put to auto. Now, again, because SDR and HDR are going to share the settings, we need to put the smooth gradation to where we would for HDR. And I've tried many games and looked in like the smallest of detail areas, and I see no loss of detail turning smooth gradation up to high. So high is going to greatly help with the posterization or banding that you see in the sky in 4K 120 Hz HDR games. So again, because SDR and HDR are going to share the setting, and that, to me, that's very distracting to have those color bands in the skies and games. This TV, it does a really good job at removing most of them, so I use high. Motion should be all off. Again, everything here auto. So that's our game mode. And then HDR, again, everything's going to be the same. And if you didn't have peak luminance on high and brightness on max, then it would automatically do that when you went to an HDR game anyway. Alright, now I'm on the Xbox Series X. And we're going to go over, first set it to 4K 120 Hz. Now, I recommend keeping it at that regardless of what you are playing. Even if you're playing a game in 30 FPS or 60 FPS, it doesn't matter. the TV will receive a 120 Hz signal and the frames are just duplicated. That way the TV is going to be in its lowest input lag. Alright, so now we can come here and we can see everything's checked except for Dolby Vision, and that's perfectly fine. I do not recommend Dolby Vision gaming, whether it's on the Sony or anything else. Sony doesn't have a Dolby Vision game mode right now, and even if they did, Dolby Vision gaming is not in a great place. So your Xbox Series X settings should look like this. When Sony adds a VRR to the TV, it's very likely it will be limited to 60 Hz, so not something that you would use anyway, so don't worry about VRR at all. Auto HDR does not convert all SDR games to HDR. It only does certain games that are supported that have been tested, and there's a toggle for each of those games to turn it on and off. Now, the checkbox here for ALLM is there, but it doesn't work with the Sony TV. Alright, so now we are going to show how to calibrate HDR on the Xbox. As soon as you get to that page, it puts the TV into HDR mode. You can see HDR in the corner. What you want to do is go to your tone mapping and turn this off. And if you press the OK button, you can bring it down to the bottom of the screen like this. At the black screen here, you're just going to go all the way darker until it doesn't go any darker. That's pure black. Then this screen, you're going to go all the way to darker. You're now at 300 nits. And now we're going to go one click at a time. So 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, 750, 800, 850, 900, 950, 1000. And then we're going to hit next. Now instead of doing it that way, you can just count the clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 clicks, 1000 nits for both settings here. And now we're going to turn our HDR tone mapping to gradation preferred. And now you can see how you can clearly make out the sun on the left image. Now some games that have poor HDR or don't support HGIG, let me go back to HDR. So games like Halo Infinite, it's really fine just to use brightness preferred. It does help to brighten up the image because the game's HDR implementation isn't the greatest. So there are going to be times where brightness preferred is perfectly fine to use. There are other times where that will sacrifice some highlight detail. So you play with it, but for the most part, if you just want to set it and forget it, just use gradation preferred. Everything else in our game mode is the same as we've gone over. Now, the last thing to know about the Xbox is under your audio. If you are using eARC with the Sony TV and you have the Xbox at 120 Hz, it will not do Dolby or DTS sound. It will, but it's going to have constant dropouts. So it'll just be playing, and then audio drops out. Playing, audio drops out. Playing, audio drops out. Way to fix that is just use the uncompressed. Then you don't get any more dropouts. So, and then I don't have the AVR hooked up right now, otherwise 7.1 would be an option as well. So that's all you need to do for the Xbox. Alright, now for the Nintendo Switch. This one's going to be a little bit different. So this is going to HDMI port 1. You can use 1 or 2. And what we're going to do is use game mode. And what we're also going to do is crank up the brightness. Get it as bright as possible. So max, contrast 90, gamma 0. Black level, its default 50. We're not going to use black adjust or contrast enhancer. We're going to have peak luminance on high. And our color settings, as we've been doing, expert 1, live color, and this is up to you. So it does change the saturation a bit and make the colors extend out a little bit. that's going to be up to your own taste. Reality creation. So here you can use auto or turn this up really high, and then I can see all kinds of jaggies and issues and stuff when it's really high, so I'm not going to do that. I would say right around, again, 40 seems to be the limit. Anything over 40, I see issues. But anywhere from 20 to 40 looks good. And then if, let's say I set it to 30 and switch to auto, it does look a bit softer on auto, so I'd say auto has to be somewhere around 20, which is fine. So use auto or use manual and adjust it yourself. Now from here, smooth gradation doesn't matter, low's fine. What I would like to do is go to custom on the motion. Now smoothness is grayed out because you're in a game. That's what's going to add input lag, so we're not using that. You can't use it. We are going to go to clearness. Now going to 1 doesn't really do much. Going to 2, it's going to darken just a little bit. But if we go to max, all right, now again, you're going to get a little bit of that flicker, but your eyes are going to become accustomed to that very quickly. But now our motion resolution is much higher, and the game looks a whole lot smoother. And because we have so much extra brightness, that cut down in the brightness is not noticeable. The game is still very, very bright, and already my eyes are accustomed to the flicker and I don't see it anymore. And now this is just extremely smooth, and the motion resolution, like as you're going around turns at high speeds, you can make out the letters on signs and everything's very clear. It basically looks like you're playing, you know, modern day version of a Super Nintendo game on a CRT. Like, it's just very smooth. There's no motion artifacts. So when playing the Nintendo Switch on the A90J or the A80J, this is absolutely how I would recommend it. And again, it's still very, very bright. Alright, now I'm over on the PlayStation 5. So you adjust your screen area. And then for HDR, just like we did on the Xbox, we're going to go into our brightness setting, go to tone mapping, and turn that off. Now we're going to pull all the way down darker, and then go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 clicks until the sun disappears. And then the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 disappears. And then our black screen, we're just going to go all the way down until the darker grays out and you can't go any further. We are not going to use the auto setup that Sony has brought out. Now we're going to turn our tone mapping back to gradation preferred. And then everything here on the PlayStation is pretty much going to be just left to automatic. So resolution, you can leave it auto. 4K transfer rate, we can leave it auto. HDR, you want to put only when supported. Deep color, we can leave at automatic. RGB range, leave at automatic. And enable 120 Hz, leave at automatic. Now, the Sony TV does not support ALLM yet. However, it will communicate with the PlayStation 5 if you turn auto picture mode to on. And that's if you're going to be using your PlayStation 5 for media content such as the UHD Blu-ray player or apps and such. So then you could set this to on and it will automatically switch from game mode to custom and then back when you go to a game. But that's only with the PlayStation consoles. That covers all the latest consoles and how to set up game mode. So it's going to be the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. Hope it helps you out. Keep an eye out for upcoming A90J videos along with other content. And hope you all have a good one. See you in the next one. Thanks.